Welcome to another stream from Cosmic Spud. My name's Adam. I'm joined by Garrett and Matthew. Garrett of Cosmic Spud, lead developer for Ancient, the game we'll be showing off today, and Matthew, our musician and composer, and also has been helping with the development. So we're just gonna dive right into this. This is pretty open format. We're gonna be showing some gameplay and explaining things here and there. Not going to go over everything, but that which comes up, and feel free to ask questions if you're in chat. And if you're on YouTube, thanks for tuning into this VOD. We're going to go ahead and get started here. All right, so I'm going to go ahead and pick Mr. Wayfarer, and let's get going.
Just to hop in here too, this is Garrett speaking now, but you do like your Wayfarer to start with. I think you're 3 for 3 now.
I mean, he is the starting character, so
True.
It's the nature of his character in a way.
Yeah. So of course, if you're unfamiliar with Ancient, it's a roguelite game. You'll collect items, and with going through the different stages, with the difficulty increasing, and the big reason the difficulty will increase, and you'll see in a second, is the world will get mutations. So basically, the mutations are enemies will be getting items and getting more powerful. So we'll see how this turns out in this run.
And if anybody also is in chat, do feel free to speak up as far as if it's hard to hear anybody or if the game's too loud. Did my best to tune our settings, but always get it a little off. I'm not gonna dilly-dally. I'm gonna try to get on out of here. So this is our first boss fight. We got the giant.
Go for that first boss before you get any mutations. Go nice and fast.
Be careful not to get hit, because I almost died.
So of course, each of the different characters are going to play differently. Wayfarer is the first character you start with, who you expect to play, typically seen as kind of the easiest to play. His third ability, or ultimate per se, is a potion you can drink that will give him some health regen. So he's one of the few characters who has an innate way to actually get his health back. So you saw him, he got real low on health. Go ahead and chug that.
Like so.
Yep.
So
Other skills. Oh, nope, go ahead.
Here we are in the Collector's Forum. This is our little safe haven. Between levels. Here we have the Collector. Does anything in your collection appeal to me? Let's see here. I might get me some attack speed for this practice sword. And you might as well just get right off the bat by picking up an Azul item. So as you can see above my health in the bottom left corner, there's that little box there, which is now being occupied by said Knife of Shariah. And that is going to give me some bit of a... It's a way of kind of establishing a build. So the knife itself is going to be promoting movement speed and attack speed, as it gives the bonuses of one to the other in both directions. So I have that one practice sword and one coconut, so one set of attack speed increase and one set of movement speed increase. So I effectively have 2 of each because of the knife.
Yep. There's a number of different Azul items. A lot of the thinking between them is that they should be kind of build defining. You can only have one, of course. You can upgrade them as you go through a run, so you can make it more powerful, but you want to try and play it off of the items you already have. So as you mentioned, he has a practice sword, which increases attack speed. He has a coconut, which increases his movement speed. The knife he picked up at this tier 1 level will apply half his movement speed modifier to his attack speed, and vice versa. So you can be a really fast character with this item, and you can attack really quick as well.
Yeah, and this is Matthew. He, since he selected the Wayfarer, it's extra beneficial because of that homebrew ability that Garrett referenced earlier, because it increases your movement and attack speed as well. So those bonuses are amplified even farther because of that knife. So really good choice for the Wayfarer, I feel like.
And here I go getting my most notorious mutation that I can never run away from, the unstable mutation. So as Garrett was indicating, one of our means of increasing difficulty as we progress through a run would be mutations being granted to the enemies and also kind of the world itself. So what unstable is going to do is my instability meter in the top right, the HUD is going to get it's gonna go up a bit faster now, so that's gonna be not good for me. There are means of removing mutations, so I might try to get rid of that guy as soon as I can. Now we have the Grave Lord. But now they just got Potent, which is going to be pretty nasty because I have, or rather they have, Lacerating Mutation. So that Lacerating is going to give them a chance to bleed me on all of their attacks. Like that aforementioned Homebrew, get some of my health back, because I have very little healing as it is. So yeah, the Potent's going to boost that Lacerating power, its potency. And that's going to mean all those bleeds that I'm going to receive are going to be a lot more damaging. So I'm going to need to be more cautious, ever more cautious, to try to not get hit so much. I'm gonna bleed out. There we go. So I have perished.
Oh no!
So we're gonna get a little view of my stats here at the end. I have very low stats because we're iterating. I reset my progress fairly often, so let's just hop back into another one. And let's go ahead and pick the Azulmancer.
Yeah.
Move on to the next character.
And Matthew can explain why the Azulmancer is the worst character, of course, and no one likes her.
Simply joking before the stream. I was not being serious.
So the Azalmancer has a pretty fun play style and happens to be Matthew's favorite, so I like to rag on him about it.
Yeah, you can already tell the Azalmancer is a ranged attack, um, just single target high damage, but her abilities are extremely powerful, and I find they scale really well into the late game as you collect more items. In addition to that, you notice that she's got this blinking ability that Adam is demonstrating, his ability to teleport a short distance forward. It's got a very fast cooldown, so it's a great way to move across the stage quickly, which helps you to find items and other useful props.
Yeah, and he's taking on a combat shrine at the moment. If you can defeat it in time,
Making it
your
look
reward,
easy.
which he did. But if you don't defeat it in time, yeah, you might get penalized for that. And of course, it's spawning rather powerful enemies, so sometimes it just kill you instead of you not being able to kill them fast enough. So the enemies on screen right now, they are diseased elites. What they do, if they hit you, they'll inflict a disease debuff that'll decrease your health regen, movement speed, and attack speed. So it's obviously devastating early game, but it can be really rough late game when you're relying on a lot of healing to stay alive.
And I got pretty lucky there that time upon finishing that Kama Shrine. So I was rewarded with a rare item. But that's going to give you those blue pillars of flame that you're seeing when I eliminate an enemy. I'd like that as well. So I'm going to spend some of my Azul Dust is that topmost currency. So Ancient does live with two currencies, both the Dust and Azul Stones, both indicated in the top left. Azul Dust is going to be your primary currency for those item displays where I picked up that push dagger, get a little more bleed chance, and the item displays as well in the collector's forum. And then the stones get used for a little bit different purpose, most of which exist in the collector's forum, so we can bring it up when we get back there.
Yeah, so Adam's doing a great job showcasing the Azalmancer's blink ability, that warp walk. It has such a fast cooldown that you're able to avoid so many attacks, especially against boss. It's really great for kiting and dodging attacks, so it's one of the things I really like about the Azalmancer.
And you'll notice when you finish the boss event, you'll get the two items shown up there. Of course, it's going to be a randomized item, but if during that fight, you'll see the little glowing balls going towards it. So that's what it's doing, is it's collecting the souls of your enemy. The more that you can collect, the better chance of getting a rare item from the end of the boss. And then after the the bar is filled up, you can't keep going and collecting more. So you can't just farm it. You have to kill as many as you can in that 60 seconds you have.
Yeah, so Adam right there, he just used first thing he used was a prop that will give you the item that is shown in exchange for an item of equal rarity. So he traded out his shuriken for a dragon stone, which will help give him more damage over time. The fire damage over time in particular is pretty powerful. And the other thing Adam did is he purchased an Azul item, as you noticed. This one is my favorite combination to have with the Azulmancer. I love playing the Azulmancer with this combination. What you may have already noticed is that what happens is occasionally the Azulmancer is getting those orange sparks above her head. That indicates that all of her abilities have had their cooldowns reset. So you just saw right there that, Adam was using that warp walk like a lot, because Garrett knows the exact statistics and everything, but there's a percentage that every time you complete an animation for using an ability, all your cooldowns will reset. And because the Azulmancer's abilities are so powerful, especially in the later game, this item is very useful for the Azulmancer.
If you haven't noticed, he does really like his Azulmancer.
It's true. I'm trying to hide it, Garrett. Don't let the people know. I do kind of pride myself in, being the best Azulmancer player in the world right now, so.
That's true. The question is, will Adam be able to unlock some other characters to show off? I know we've shown off a lot of the other ones on stream before, but maybe the elusive Nomad might actually get to be shown off.
It is possible. Again, for anybody who may have joined us since we've started, what we're showing off is Ancient. This is the game that has been made by us, Cosmic Spud, which I guess I didn't indicate. It is to be coming out on February 4th on both Steam and itch.io, or at this time just for the Windows platform. In addition, we will also be releasing the soundtrack for it, so you can also get your hands on that as well. Laser.
You like to get some nasty mutations.
Oh, I'm glad somebody has
damage.
finally taken notice of my ill fortunes.
So, mutations from left to right, they're up at the top of the screen right now. That first one's potent. We mentioned that what that one does is if you are inflicted with fire, poison, or bleed, or freezing, the amount that you are inflicted with, if you have a potent gets increased to 2, so you get 2 stacks of it. If you have 2 potents, you get 3 stacks of it. So it can be very brutal if it combinations, but right now he doesn't have any bleed chance or any burning chance or stuff to inflict on him, so that's not too big of an issue. The one that just got removed was Titanic, which really good one to remove because that increases the max health of enemies by a substantial amount. And then the other 3 are Stoneskin, Vampiric, and Accurate. Stoneskin increases the armor of enemies, so you'll basically inflict less damage unless you have armor-piercing damage. Vampiric lets enemies heal themselves off damage inflicted to you, and then Accurate gives them a critical hit chance.
And something you would have seen at the beginning of this stage is, because I have a reset save, is my first time reaching the Western Peaks, stage 3. So I got myself access for future runs to the, and my current run, to the Bottomless Quiver, and every item will have its own unique, not every item, some items will already be unlocked, but those that are locked will have unique unlock criteria for you to strive to obtain and get everything unlocked. That there was me making a gamble, and I do not consider myself a gambling man, for I am an unlucky one. Got myself a mutation as opposed to an item.
So yeah, what he hit or used was what's called a Shrine to the Unknown God. It's the best chance of getting a rare item or an Azul Stone in the game, but there's also a chance it will just give you a mutation. So it's a pretty big gamble. Ooh.
Oh, that's nice.
Yeah, and I got my luck is not all in the negative. I did get myself a worm skull, a rare item for just a standard chest. That shall definitely help me get a little more added firepower.
Now, you're gonna take the gamble here.
Am I allowed to take the gamble?
Of course, go for it.
Alright. I mean, nobody wants to live forever.
Okay. That unlocks a very nice item for you, too.
True.
Ooh, thank you, Mr.
Oh,
That was a lot of damage, as it were.
yeah.
But I did get myself some item unlocks, so that's very nice.
Yeah, those triple accurate and amplified. It's brutal coming out of that beholder.
Yeah, on top of the Aslomancer has the lowest tankiness, I guess, of all the units. Least health, least armor of all the playable characters. And besides that, shrine that he prayed to, for which he got the Priestess Mask unlock, reduces your maximum health by 50% for the remainder of the stage. So one might ask, to what end?
For the Priestess Mask, of course.
Yep, just for the Priestess Mask.
Yeah, that's it.
Now, there's another special thing there too, but we'll see if we find out what it is.
Hey, Filipino Gamer, thanks for the follow. Thanks for tuning in.
Good to have you here, Filipino Gamer. That's nice. Star in the bottle right off the bat.
That indeed.
We've talked a lot about the gameplay and such so far. We do have the pleasure of having our composer here as well. So if you feel like discussing the music at any point, Matthew, feel free. Not to put you under any pressure for that, but
Oh, sure. I mean, of course, if at any time you guys have any questions about the music, you're welcome to just ask. The soundtrack was completely and originally composed and produced by yours truly. I use a digital audio workstation called Studio One by PreSonus, and I've used a handful of sound libraries. Most of them that you're hearing today are by Spitfire Audio. Getting a nice cello section solely going right here. And there's some percussion and some other string instruments. They come from Spitfire Audio's cinematic percussion sound library and from Spitfire Audio's intimate strings sound library. There are other instruments as well that come from like Spitfire Audio's free BBC Symphony Orchestra Discover library. Again, that's just free to anyone. You can go pick it up yourself. And there are free digital audio workstations as well. So definitely a bit of a budget soundtrack, I guess, but you know, it worked out really well. So, and yeah, it's just great that it's so accessible. You know, anyone can go pick it up and learn how to make music like this. It's kind of cool.
I don't know about anyone. I know I couldn't do it, but
Well, I guess the resources are there. So it's nice. It's just crazy because like 10 years ago, this was only just starting to become a thing. This style of this quality of music, and now it's just so accessible. It's great.
Deliberating on what should the little Azomancer do.
now, you know, I see the potential for a lamp build.
There is the beginnings, the humble beginnings of a lamp build. I'm gonna just get a little speed going. Fortunately, I did not pick up the freaking eye. And off we go again.
A pretty dang good start right here, so I have a feeling this is gonna be a good run. Oh, and Azul item on the stage.
It is
Not a bad
known
one either.
to happen not all very often. Just another little piece of info for any viewers. These are very informal streams. We don't intend to have them run for all too long. Usually run around the hour 15 mark, so you can expect to have us on until maybe around 9:30 or so. So we shall see. And it may depend on how I'm doing, how I'm playing.
I might have to just give you some cheats, unlock some other characters. So of course, I mentioned the other characters. There's 6 total characters right now. You've seen the Wayfarer and the Azulmancer. So Wayfarer is a melee range hybrid, whose his big thing is it's jack of all trades, masters of none. Does have the ability to heal himself with his homebrew. Does also increase attack speed, movement speed, and decreases your skill cooldown time. Azulmancer, high damage, high mobility, but pretty squishy, kind of a glass cannon. Then the next character would be the Marauder. Marauder is a pure melee character, just completely designed for brawling. Has some very powerful single hit attacks, and has the ability to make himself very tanky. Then there's the Bounty Hunter, just kind of a medium range specialist who has a lot of hits per attack. Can do a lot of debuff damage, very good at inflicting bleed, burn, poison, freezing. Then there's the Pathfinder, my personal favorite, who's not as high damage as the Azulmancer, but more mobility and a little bit more tankiness. Not a whole lot, but a little bit. It just focuses almost purely on mobility, being able to kind of stay out of trouble and chip away at people's health. And then the final is the Nomad. Nomad is a fast-paced melee character, as with the Brass Crown earlier, where you could reset your cooldowns. The Nomad, one of his skills has the ability to reset your cooldowns if you kill an enemy with it. So you can play very fast in the Nomad as well, but definitely does not have the staying power of the Marauder and the Wayfarer. Thankfully, your mutations here are not too big of a deal for you as the Azulmancer, being able to blink away from people. You got the 2 hastens, which increases enemies' movement speed, and then the chilling, which when they hit you, it will decrease your movement speed. By being able to blink around, get out of the way, it makes it not much of a threat.
Filipino gamer. Character I'm playing right now is the Azulmancer, the glass cannon, zippy, ranged character. So all my attacks are range based. The second of the characters that you, or rather the first of the characters you unlock, but the second in the roster. Again, decisions.
You go for that.
That knife is looking pretty tempting. The knife with the practice sword. I don't know if you can afford them both.
That's a good point. I think you can.
I sure can.
So
I already have a few practice swords.
Yeah. So for Azul Stones, typically you'll be buying them here at the Collector's Forum. They do appear in stages. They're not uncommon necessarily. You'll typically see 1 per stage, but they are very expensive. But they give you access to some very, very useful things. You can buy Azul items with it. If you have 2 of them, you can buy a rare item. You can upgrade your Azul item with it. But one of the most important things you can do with it is you can remove mutations. So as you start getting later into a game and the mutations start stacking up, you can spend an Azul Stone to remove a full stack of a single mutation.
Unfortunately, I should be able to get myself the Marauder unlocked, so should be able to show him off here in a bit after I meet my untimely demise, as is not required, but simply the nature of the beast. There's again the mutation, which I never escape.
Yep, unstable. That's brutal.
Yeah.
So we mentioned the instability and then the mutations themselves. So on the right hand side, there's two bars filling up. The long skinny one, the purple fill, that's your instability level. There's 4 different levels corresponding to your level of mutation that you might get. So at the first quarter, you're not going to be getting any mutations. Once it fills up past that first one, the second bar will start filling up. That's the blue, light blue and dark blue diamond filling up there. When that fills up, that's when a mutation will trigger. But as your instability increases, the higher chance of getting a rare mutation or an uncommon mutation. And if it maxes out, so you fill up all 4 bars, then you are guaranteed to get a rare mutation. Which, we might see one here. We haven't... I don't think we've had one in game yet.
No, not in this stream. We have not.
So those range from making the enemies substantially stronger to literal lightning raining down from the sky around you.
And so what you saw me do there a minute ago was I used an item swap. What I did, the item I displayed was the coconuts, which is going to increase my movement speed. And the reason I want those is like my last go with the Wayfarer with that knife. I'm going to get not only the base movement speed that the item provides, but also an attack speed bonus. So as you can see, I am pretty fast on the draw. Just gotta keep out of Mr. Cyclops' cold clutches.
And a brutal thing about the Cyclops, the boss fight is designed to be more difficult for ranged characters. You'll see the wall of snow popping up behind him when he tries to run away, keeping you from fleeing from him. And with that freezing mutation, what that will do is instead of increasing chance, it increases the amount of stacks applied. So this can get very dangerous even for potent. You might get inflicted by 4, 8, 16 stacks of freeze in one go, which can be very brutal.
Filipino Gamer asks, how do you increase the mutations bar? By killing people? So that bar on the top right that Garrett was talking about is our instability bar. The higher it gets, the more deadly the mutations you get. That bar just increases periodically over time. Also, your mutations also occur periodically over time. I'm pretty sure mutations occur once every minute. Garrett can correct me on that.
It's once every minute once it gets going, but there are ways to affect that. So if you, like I said, move your bar down to that lower quarter, it will reset the timer on it. But yeah, every second it's going to be increasing. So just as time goes, your mutations will start getting more and more brutal.
And
Going through a different stage will reduce it, and then there is also a prop that you can use that will reduce your instability.
I opted to not reduce my instability, and I managed to get myself a second unstable with another one of those shrines to an unknown god. So, as to fulfill having not shown any rare mutations.
Yeah. Yes, definitely intentional to keep getting your unstable. I guess when you
I
your
hit
level of luck, you can always keep getting them.
I did hit 2 shrines, so doing
Ow.
what I can.
The knife is better.
Yep.
Given the coconuts I have put into my quick and flashy build, as it were, I probably already invested. Granted, I don't have to be, but I choose to be. And something we're going to start seeing here as I get further and further into the game is...
And what's your reward?
I appear to have not even seen it, so I surely do want my reward. We're going to start seeing these elites. Not only are they going to spawn from the combat shrines, such as these wraiths here, going to put a serious hurt on me if I left them. Yeah, they will also naturally spawn as time increases. We have more availability for the enemies to spawn in greater numbers or in more powerful versions of themselves. So now, just a moment ago, I guess I will grab my reward. What we got just a minute ago is I now have a explosive mutation. So I managed to get the aforementioned rare mutation that I was not really trying to avoid for your sake. So what you're seeing now is all of the enemies upon death, they're going to explode. And unlike my rare item from last run where when they were killed, they would burst into a pillar of flames and hurt other enemies. The explosive mutation only is gonna hurt me. So when we got big old groups of enemies, I need to stay far away on their expiration. A nice little perch here. Some good damage.
Yeah, thankfully that's would be the easiest mutation to deal with as Azalmancer.
Yeah, and not only as Azalmancer, but as Azalmancer with a Knife of Shariah build.
Yep.
He's so fast, he'll never get hit by those explosions. Much harder to deal with if you're a melee character like the Marauder.
With my mutations running unchecked, I can't simply continue, I suppose, steamrolling at the rate I am going. As instability, thanks to the two unstable mutations I currently possess, the instability is going to continue going up very quickly. So we're probably going to be seeing ourselves a second rare mutation very shortly. And as Garrett indicated, we have a little drop in instability as I get to the next stage. Fortunately, I'm too quick. You're gonna might lose out on some of the scenery here. Have to take your time.
One of the philosophies with the game is we do want to allow broken builds, but the way the game is set up, it will always overwhelm you eventually. So no matter how powerful you get, it is always going to start catching up. Now, that doesn't mean you can't get some just absurdly powerful builds, but over time, as you can see, the mutations starting to catch up to the amount of items you have. The leeway you get at the beginning of the game, letting you collect some items first, just burn off, just start to catch up. And you can end up with some interesting setups where you have to counter build what the mutations that you end up dealing with.
Here Adam is battling the brand new boss that Garrett just finished putting in the other day. The Willow Wisp is a small, agile, but heavy-hitting boss. Gotta be careful to avoid her attacks because you can lose your health really fast. And she's a lot smaller, so for some, she's gonna be a lot harder to hit. Might even say she's like the spiritual equivalent of the Azalmancer.
just now noticing too, most of your health regen is reliant on you doing damage through your priestess mask.
As it can oftentimes be.
I mean, he's got those 2 shaman trinkets and 2 apothecary belts.
There's that darn trick.
Yeah, lots of tanky enemies right there. It's a very timely star.
Alright. Well, I will continue my trend of not getting rid of mutations in hopes of showing off my character unlock from this run. But, I mean, I am going to get a little more speed and fire rate.
Oh, you have to get the lamp.
I shall get the lamp, or it shall please the gods known as Garrett.
Oh.
So
The
that
lamp roots.
Yeah, that lamproot's been a bit of an inside joke because what it does is it increases the light radius around you, which might not seem to be useful right now, but there are items that scale very powerfully off of your light radius. The joke is, though, that the lamproot was put in before any of those other items were. So when the lamproot was first added into the game, it had literally no value. So we kept joking that it was extremely overpowered when really it didn't do anything. And now the joke continues. Of course, light radius being relatively small, usually hard to make effective for a ranged character such as the Azalmancer, but certainly can be. I've done it before.
Well, especially when you've got 2 explosive mutations, which...
Filipino Gamer says lamp is too OP, must nerf.
We agree.
We agree, Filipino Gamer.
Believe it or not, lamp is actually pretty OP in certain situations, but alas, he does not have, I'm not even sure you have them unlocked currently, the items that would make a lamp.
I don't
really
think
powerful.
well, I do have Righteous Fury. Actually, no, I'm thinking of something else.
Oh, you do have
Oh,
Righteous
or
Fury.
rather,
Righteous
Righteous
That one's
Fury, I
unlocked by
do.
default, right?
Yeah,
Yeah.
so then
It's,
Flame Lash is one of the items we're speaking of, which I do not have unlocked at the moment. As we keep indicating, especially with my poor decisions, the mutations will certainly catch up to me. I don't hope to do terrifically well in this next boss fight.
Another very powerful boss.
And the boss did just get a elite mutation. Oh, should not get hit by those. Ah, that's all it took. Nice little beaming from the laser. Alright,
Ooh.
so the Fallen Keeper definitely had something to say about that strength of build. It was, I wasn't responsible enough. But we can do a quick last little run here. And as I mentioned before, character we unlock the Marauder, the melee character. The slower, heavy hitting melee character as opposed to the quicker, somewhat hybrid Nomad.
Oh man, painful now after going from
And we're gonna
tier
take a
2 knife
nice
to Pariah with lots of movement to
walk through the park.
back to
Yep.
base speed.
I may be a big fan of the Azalmancer, but I'm pretty sure Adam here is a big fan of the Marauder, so I
I'm
can tell
an
you all about him.
equal opportunity character player, whatever you want to call it. I
Oh,
appreciate all of them for what they are.
What a good man.
Oh my.
Filipino Gamer asks, is there a way to know what the items do before you pick them up? Or you just have to figure out what they do after you pick them up?
The answer to that would be a little bit of both. I'll let you continue, Garrett, so I can not get myself killed at some point here.
Yeah, of course. So when you have an item unlocked, you can look at them in the journal. That'll have the description of what it does, how it stacks, and have a little lore blurb about it as well. But on the stages itself, you won't be able to see what they do until you pick them up. You'll have, of course, a little piece that'll pop up there, and if Adam gets a chance here after this boss fight, you can also mouse over the items on the bottom of the screen, and it will tell you what each one does in more detail. So we see showcasing Marauder's skill 2, the shift ability, is a very high damage leap attack. The faster you're moving, the more damage it does, so you can get some very, very big hits off.
I do have myself 1 monk sash, so I'm going to get a bit more jump height as a result of it, and that is going to synergize with said leap attack.
The crawlers are smart. They know what's going on. They gotta run away from there.
They're not smart enough. Now, an interesting thing with Marauder here. I don't know if he's gonna take it, but we've already shown off the brass crown a little bit. But Marauder's 3rd skill is a war cry that will, every enemy within its radius when it activates will give you a stack of berserk, which increases your armor, resistance. So armor reduces direct damage, resistance reduces damage over time effects such as bleed. It will also increase your attack speed and movement speed and damage. With that brass crown, it allows you to continuously stack the berserk stacks if you can reset your skill. So you can keep building it up and get an absolutely monstrous chain going. It's not the easiest to do. Typically you'll need to upgrade your brass crown, increase the chance of it actually proccing when you use a skill, because the Marauder is not like the Azalmancer where he's got a lot of short cooldown abilities. But you can get some pretty crazy stuff going. I will bonds. Thank you for the follow. Thanks for tuning in.
Filipino Gamer asks, how do you upgrade an item? Just by picking it up again? The Azul item that you see in the top left over by that blue circle indicating his health, that item can be upgraded not by picking it up again, but by spending Azul stones at a specific altar. And when you, or if it appears on stage, you can purchase the upgrade with Azul dust instead. And that is how you upgrade your Azul item. Other items you'll notice have like a X2 by them, ×2, just indicating that you have picked up the same item multiple times. And so, in that sense, yes, you could say that you upgrade your existing items, but I think it's typically thought of as that you pick up a duplicate of the same item. So, let us know if that didn't answer your question, Filipino Gamer. That was a good question.
Combination of the Axe of Alaric, which is going to give me a bit higher attack speed upon hitting enemies with a temporary buff, or a stacking buff, and my War Cry is going to give me quite a boost in attack speed, so that allowed me to make rather short work of the Grave Lord. as I'm unlikely to have much respite. I don't know if a apothecary's belt is for me or the Marauder as a melee character, as it will allow me to heal if I'm out of combat, not being hit. Well, not specifically out of combat, but not being distracted with damage. So, for the sake of trying to activate my brass crown more often, I'm going to get myself another quiver so I can get multiple of these going. As you see there, I can sometimes get it to go. So we can attempt that combination with the war cry and get ourselves quite a spammy mess of
In case you
lots
didn't
of
have enough.
damage. And
Yeah.
there's yet another one.
So because he has 4 bottomless quivers, he now has 5 maximum charges of his secondary ability there.
Yeah,
I don't,
wow,
so-
I don't know that
butchered those
I don't
guys.
know that I've done the preemptive jump really before. That was executed rather well, I must say.
Oh,
Adam, a pro gamer here.
yeah. We So those elites, he's got 2 pickaxes, which increases your armor piercing damage. Those elites that's he is fighting are armored elites, which typically start off very hard to deal damage with, but every time you hit them, you'll reduce their stack of armored until you eventually break it. But with his armor piercing and the just heavy hitting nature of that skill 2, that shift ability, I basically just burst right through their armor there. It's like you can rescue yourself.
I have been saved. I do not know who that man is. I've never seen him before in my life.
So, I mean, there's a number of different criteria for unlocks. Marauder is one. Since we showed it on the stream, I'll mention it. On this stage, you can find him hidden. You need some mobility skills to be able to get to him. There's certain characters that can get to him without any items. Most of them do require some items. Obviously, the Marauder would be able to get up there to the top, to the frozen Marauder, if you didn't already have him unlocked. But if you're playing as Marauder, then yeah, there's no reason to go up there.
I have a tendency of, in the spirit maybe, of the other characters with their usually mobility related shift skills. I tend to have a liking to using it as a slight movement skill of my own. And if there's the off chance that there's an unfortunate soul at the bottom of my arc, then goodbye.
Well, and it's not a bad idea. I mean, we mentioned it a little bit earlier in the stream, but the ability to move across the stage very quickly lets you collect items more quickly without accruing quite so much instability. So.
Okay, so we can see an absolutely
Oh my
stacking the
gosh.
berserk here.
I believe I
So
got
that's-
like 5 or 6 of them off, and the way they actually
19
function
stacks of berserk.
is the number of enemies in your vicinity when you fire that off is what boosts the strength of your war cry. So sometimes you let a few enemies crowd you in, and you give them hell.
That was pretty good.
But, like Gary was saying earlier, just because I'm doing well now does not have any guarantee as to how I'll do later, as again, I'm not maintaining my mutations. I've got a couple moltens and a potent, so that's gonna mean those 2 moltens are gonna get applied twice from the potent, so I don't want to get hit very much because I might just burn up to a crisp.
And all the damage over time effects will have different scaling. So bleed's pretty generic. It just has an exponential scaling. The more stacks you have, the more damage it will do. Increasing exponentially. So the more stacks you have, it can get some very high numbers. Burning is based off your base damage, so it will scale with your character level and with the stages enemies are on. But it also has an innate ability of increasing the actual modifier of it. So burn can have like a half x base damage, 2x base damage, 5x base damage depending on how many you have. Freezing, it's a weaker scaling than bleed, but it scales similarly. But it also affects your attack speed and movement speed. So if you get a lot of freezing stacks on you, you can't get away. It can be very brutal. Poison on its own will be based off the max health. It can't kill directly, but it can reduce very healthy enemies down to lower health very quickly. The damage it does is based off the maximum health you have and the remaining health you have.
Yeah, already things are starting to look a little on the dicier side.
My primary means of healing right now seems to be my apothecary belt. So long as I'm on the run from these guys, I'm gonna get some of my health back. But in the middle of those fights, that's not really happening. So I was finding myself pretty low there.
And the bile hornets, those are the hornets that are shooting little stingers at them. They do have a small innate poison chance. So that will also scale with that potent. So you can still see if he gets hit by it, he's going to have multiple stacks of poison.
You know, every time I see Adam play Marauder, I think, man, I really need to play Marauder more often.
Very close to burning to death.
Oh, no!
Oh, just at the end. Well, I got myself an unlock with dying to damage over time.
Yeah, you got the Pathfinder too.
Is the Pathfinder.
Okay, well, you gotta do one more with the Pathfinder.
I do. Okay.
I insist.
I think Pathfinder might be Garrett's favorite character.
It might be. It's... I check my logs after I do some game testing. It ends up being 50 plays with the Pathfinder and none with any of the others.
Filipino Playa says, thank you for the explanations. Excellent music, by the way. Thank you very much, Filipino Playa, as the musician. I appreciate that a lot. Thank you very much. And I guess it's as good a time as any to just shout out the chat. Thanks everyone for coming. We've always been really pleased and really excited about like the turnout at these streams. So thanks for your support and thanks for your interest. If you have any questions, of course, feel free to ask them. We got our eyes on the chat, and hope you all are just enjoying hanging out with us.
So as I mentioned earlier in the stream, Pathfinder is very much mobility based. One of two characters that has two skills that do increase mobility. So the shift skill and the X skill. If you look down the bottom left, what number it's, what keybind it has for it. The shift is dodge backwards, shoot the 3 arrows, and then the X is you go up and you fire a barrage of the spirit arrows. Lower damage than the Azelmancer, but better mobility, and a little bit less tanky. However, for big enemies like the giants, when all of your projectiles are going to hit, you can inflict a lot of damage very quickly.
Filipino gamer, enjoy hanging with y'all. Just wish Adam was better. I'll have you know, sir, that I am one of the top 3 players of this game in the world.
And you've only got 2 weeks left of that.
That is true. We might have ourselves some whales, I guess would be the word for it, and have some dedicated players. Who knows? Might see some nice juicy end of game stat screens with some ridiculous most damage dealt and all that good stuff.
Yeah.
And we hope for it. We hope to see it.
Oh, I want to see everyone break this thing and go absolutely nuts. I love seeing the big runs. And like I said, I love it when runs can kind of spiral and get to kind of ludicrous power proportions, but the game will catch up. So it will do the same thing and spiral out of control. Which there's some mutations that haven't shown up yet on the rares. We've only had the 2 so far: Troll Flesh and Explosive.
Not all mutations are of the same threat.
Yeah.
Yeah. Just like everything else in the game, depends on the character, your playstyle, your item set. It's really great. It makes for like really varied runs.
And in the spirit of roguelites, that is the idea. We want every attempt to be different item sets, different mutations gained, different Azul items, different characters. Just variety where we can have it. But if one can keep moving quick enough and doesn't stick around for too long, you might be able to, at least as I have been doing these last few, without being very tactical to my mutation cleaning, one can outrun for a time. As Garrett has said, most likely not forever.
And of course, you have the option of going forever. There is an ending in the game. We're not going to show off the final boss, of course, in a stream. We'll let anyone discover that on their own. But you don't have to go forever. You can try and get to the boss and deal with him.
Or one has the ability to, instead of engaging the boss, you can go for another attempt through the stages. It's not another attempt per se, that would maybe be a new run, but one can loop through the stages, keep going, try to get some new records, maybe some item unlocks that might be a little easier in such cases.
And there are some item unlocks that, while not impossible to do on the first loop, are very difficult to get on the first loop. So I'd expect to get all the unlocks, you're going to have to go through and loop and start going through the stages again. to my knowledge, we have beat the game after looping and beat the final boss, but I think it's only been done 3 times. So it's not the easiest to get all the way back around.
No, but it's tons of fun. Things are going crazy. You're overpowered. The enemies are overpowered.
There was
Thunder raining from the sky.
too much lamp was consumed.
Lamp.
Yes. Copious amounts of lamp. Lamps for everyone.
Just for the memes. I
Just
shall
for the
take
memes, man.
Oh, is that a discredit to the power of the lamp?
The power of the lamp cannot
Doing
be
a disservice.
understated.
How dare you, Adam?
I'm just gonna get some movement speed, just do a weird little build here.
Filipino gamer, I agree. Praise the lamp.
That's not outland. That one
that was nice.
managed to get me an Azul Stone, so a little less obvious, but
It does remind me I need to get that prompt working. So it'll tell you that you got the Azul Stone.
which that in turn reminds me that while the game is coming out soon, we are still finishing up some things, so not everything you're seeing here today is final. There may be changes, so no guarantees as to what you're seeing is in the final game.
Yeah, seeing or hearing.
Or hearing. There may be some final mixing and mastering that takes place, so you can get the best soundtrack that we can provide.
Oh.
Ooh, doubling up. Adam has his greedy eyes set on some rare item.
Adam really doesn't know what he's doing at the moment. I feel like I don't know who I am. I don't know where I'm at. All I know is I must praise Lamp.
Truer words have never been spoken.
Oh my gosh.
And here we go again with Unstable. Follows me around like a shadow.
It probably is your most acquired mutation, huh?
Certainly was for this evening, that's for sure. Oh man, I should not have run away from that.
Oh no!
I should
18
have-
stacks of freeze.
I should have dashed through it. And I think that gives us a pretty good wrapping up point here. So, indeed I was wrecked. So, again, thank you for joining us this evening, or whatever time it may be where you're watching from. But this has been the game Ancient. It is releasing on February 4th in just over 2 weeks. And you can purchase it on both itch.io and Steam. You can check the panels in the About section on the Twitch channel. They'll take you to all those places so you can check it out, see if you're so inclined to throw it on your wish list and give it a play when it comes out. And again, my name is Adam. I've been joined by Garrett and Matthew. And thanks for joining us. And if you need to watch it again, you'll find yourself a VOD up on YouTube in the next bit.
Thanks, everyone.
Thank you very much. Y'all have a good night or whatever time it is for you.
All right, and closing the stream.